Hello, Wanjiru.
Hello,
Thank you
hello.
very much for, first of all, for bringing your work to New York Live Arts, but also for taking the time out to do this thing called the Sofa Talks. And I think probably the we probably had this our second one. Is it our second one,
No,
or
this is
is it?
our first
Oh, this is our
one.
first one. Well,
Yeah.
when I started doing these discussions, I at the time of our merger back in 24, oh, some years ago, I said that many people, some people, at least people we would like to meet, have the feeling that what happens in the world of this type of experimental performance is they leave the theater scratching their heads. And and I thought, wouldn't it be great to have a conversation with the makers that people could access before they come and they get to know you and something. So therefore, please excuse some of the rudimentary nature of the questions. I'm asking them in the sense of someone who maybe knows nothing about you, and we're trying to get to know you and go a little deeper. So,
Yeah.
should we jump in?
We can jump in. But first, I'd like to say thank you so much. I mean, really, honestly, what an honor to be programmed at New York Live Arts, first. Secondly, you have been on my dream list forever. And so every time we encounter a new, it just expands the dreams, realities, which really touch my heart, really and truly.
Well,
Thank you
I'm
so
sure
much.
we will talk about dreams with such a provocative work that you're thinking of. I'd like to start out with, please tell us about your journey. I mean, where do, as an artist, I mean, I don't, how did you become an artist? Where do you come from? Who inspires you?
Hmm. Well, I always like to give homage to three very specific women. So my mother, because I was born and raised in Nairobi, Kenya. My mom's African American, my dad's Kenyan. And when I was 8 years old, my mom put me in a ballet class,
Mhm.
and my sisters as well. But I was the one who fell in love with ballet. I fell in love with moving, and I said I want to be a professional ballet dancer from then on. I mean, I don't know, a little Kenyan girl who's never seen any professional ballet dancers, but she had a dream, okay? And here we are. So, and also my grandmother who would send me point shoes from the States. In little pack, there would be packages with dial soap and point shoes and little ribbons for our hair and little socks for our
Now, were
feet.
they fans of the ballet, your mother and
Can't-
grandmother?
Say that again?
Were they fans of ballet? Were they
Yes.
themselves fans? Ah, I see.
And my mom always wanted to take ballet class when she was younger, but never was able because there was no financial ways of being able to make that happen. So she said if she ever had children, she would love to offer dance to them. And so she did,
Ah,
to three of us.
well, bravo.
Yeah. And then Jawali Willa Josala, who gave me my first big contract
Ah, so
in New
you were
York
dancing
City.
with Jalile. When was that? When were you?
I came into the fold in 2000, like end of 1999, 2000, and I was with the company for 6 seasons.
I see. I see. That's a good teacher. She's a good woman.
Yes.
And how did you start making your work?
Oh gosh. I started making my work because I went to Temple University for my MFA before I got into Urban Bushwomen. And I thought when I was there, I was like, I really want to perform. I don't want to create. It's really whatever. I don't want to do that. But something stuck with me because the program was very performance choreographic based and I had to go through the choreographic tunnel. So, but something stuck. So, and I couldn't say what stuck at the moment, but it stayed with me. And as we toured with Urban Bushwomen, the touring is a lot, but on the side, I actually started to make a solo, Spiral. And that solo was actually first performed in your space, which was called
Dance
Dance
Theater
Theater
Workshop back
Workshop
in the day. Yeah.
back in the day. And it was
Hmm.
programmed with Kyle Abrams in,
Wow.
yes, during the Festival of Dance Now.
Would that be what we'd call fresh tracks? Uh,
Oh, maybe that's what you call French tracks now, but Dance Now, the festival was doing not only Joe's Pub, but was also at DTW at the moment
oh,
at that
interesting.
time.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
So we got to do more than 5 minutes of our work.
Okay. Well, that's great. You're a French speaker.
I'm afraid, yes.
Now, how does that work? How did that happen? Considering Kenya is an English speaking culture, right?
Yes. Well, I moved, well, let's say I got a job with Jérôme Savary in Paris that had me doing a musical as a dancer and a singer and also on the choreographic team for work around, of course, Josephine Baker.
Uh-huh.
Right. And then actually, for me, that's not really when I moved, but that's what introduced me to Paris. So then I did that for about almost a year. And then I received a contract with The Lion King in Paris for a
Mm.
year. And I couldn't sublet my apartment in Paris and in New York. So I couldn't do the double paying. So I took the risk, I jumped and Lion King became a 3-year contract. Then I did your show, Fela,
Oh,
right after that, you
that's
know.
fantastic. So
So
you were familiar with Broadway. You were familiar with the commercial theater. It's a bit different in France, of course, but but the Lion King is the Lion King, correct?
I mean, and it is the Broadway Lion King. It's not, oh, their version of. No, it was Lion King in
Ah,
French. It was the real show, the show that you see on Broadway today. So
ah,
I'm thrilled to do that. And then
oh,
got
wonderful. Mhm. Um, now I ask the question: why text in your work?
Well, text in my work, as you saw, an immigrant story. Well, that is because I felt that the theme of the work needed to be as accessible as possible. You earlier evoked people scratching their heads, leaving a theater wondering, what in the world did I just see? I don't get it. And I kept thinking of my parents, even though I am a dancer, a professional choreographer, dancer, and artist, and I'm in their world, they're in mine, they still don't understand everything.
Mm,
And I
mm.
thought, and I thought the subject matter is super important and it needs words. I need to speak words to direct also a thought of the audience to go somewhere with me and not to just stay in an imaginary abstract space, which is
I understand. Well,
wonderful.
believe me, I think I have I share a similar impulse. Um, what are and then there's something about I'm reading the press release. I don't know if they come from you or came from my office, but I'm just going to throw out some terms, and I think will help us go closer to your way of thinking.
Mm.
What are invisibilized stories?
Stories that we cannot see, stories we may not even know exist, in our psyche, that are imprinted from ancestral collective memories, stories that we wish not to disclose, stories that we wish
Mm,
to keep hidden. So, yeah, those are what I called individual stories,
and
invisibilized stories.
invisibilized, and
It can
uh,
also be invisibilized stories from communities that are marginalized, that
mm,
you're not given the chance to open your mouth or to share through body, through sound, through anything. Your stories are always kept hidden because you have no platform, you have no visibility, you're minority.
mhm. Yes, yes, yes. Um, I use the word archived. They are archived. I was saying to Fastin, or I believe that it has become a very uh, trendy word.
Mm.
How do you said they are archived in one's body? How do you mean archived?
I believe that our stories, our emotions are imprinted in the body.
I
So,
think you're frozen. I'm sorry about that.
ah, am I
Can
frozen?
you hear me?
I can hear you. You're frozen. Now you're
Oh,
not.
here you go.
Now you're not frozen.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right.
But archived for me, I believe that our stories, our life experiences, and those from our past are imprinted in our bodies, and I believe that they also could create dis-ease as well as can open up space for ease. So I do believe that in the body there lies our story. So archived, just like a library.
Right, right. Well, great. Are there pertinent distinctions between, now this is a very provocative line of thought that you're in the press release. Are there pertinent distinctions between museum, library, mausoleum of memories? Those are all the way you describe your work existing in the body as um, a museum, a library, a mausoleum. You want to make any distinctions there? What's the difference between a museum and a library or a mausoleum?
Well, I'm thinking library in terms of books. Then I'm thinking of museum as in terms of exposition. You are on a operation table, open, there you are. You're in a space where you you are in a physical experience, and down your face come tears because
Mm,
something has been triggered from the inside, the mausoleum or the library or the museum, whichever word resonates most for those who see the work. So hence I use the three words because they trigger or they activate different imaginations for people. So mausoleum can also be a space of memory, can also be a space of memories unknown,
right, right.
and we don't know even exist within us.
Interesting. Yes, yes, yes. Now, mausoleum is rather severe and somewhat dark.
Yeah,
It's a crypt. It's a place where something is buried, right?
yeah,
Yeah. And you say that these stories, the body can become a mausoleum of sorts,
yes.
right? Uh, and then here's a fancy word that is used. What is epigenetic?
Epigenetic science. Actually, when I was in New York in 2023, I was on a Villa Albertine research residency, and I went
Hmm.
to John Hopkins and I talked to some scientists who are in the epigenetic field, which is only 100 years old. It's very young. So even as scientists, they're like, we can't give you 100% answers, but we can tell you what we're discovering. And
Uh-huh.
what they're going into is our cellular memories and our cellular bodies, and how those are transformed when you meet hard situations. So, for example, there have been studies on the Jewish community, and that their cellular body has changed because of their experience in the Holocaust. So, my question to them was, because my research was based on maternal memories stored in my body. What about African Americans? And because of the history of racism in hospitals and medical field, we don't do the studies. But they do believe that, yes, of course, having lived through enslavement, that has shifted the cellular body, but through movement, through meditation, through good eating, through laughter, through shifting in one's lifestyle, you can actually shift that cellular body, and then you can send it down to your offspring in a new form.
And I have heard this, and of course I think I'm a proponent, but I'll just be the devil's advocate here and say, what is there evidence that the cells remember experience, and that what is the evidence base for such an assumption about our cells being shaped by experiences?
I would say because they found through the experience with the Jewish community that allowed themselves to be studied, that there was evidence of post-traumatic stress syndrome and
Hmm.
high levels of anxiety. And so they believe that is the shift, the cellular body shift, because then the body has to deal with all that stress that's in it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
And the behaviors that we as your fellow humans observe actually, and from a science point of view, you could actually give them a cause, an origin,
Yeah.
and maybe even a projection in the future. Is that your belief?
I I definitely believe that our bodies, our cells, will hold story, and our experiences, and I do believe that through moving we can create some healing and relief.
So you said moving. How do you define what you do? I would ask you to define dance for me. Would you? Because you haven't said dance. You said moving. What is this? What do you define what it is that you do, or that you?
Well,
Is it dancing? Is it what is it?
we are dancing.
Uh-huh.
But just because I like to use the word moving, because it's a little bit more accessible to those who leave the theater scratching their heads like what was going on,
Yeah.
because dancing has this codified, I'm trained to move this kind of way, but for me, moving just feels more natural, more communal, much more human connection on the basic level. There's no training needed necessarily.
Do
But
you think that's because you are a person, a, You are a member of the African diaspora,
Yes.
and that African bodies. This is when I hear other people say it, I'm dubious, but African bodies have a particular relationship to moving, it's social, psychological, it's communal. It do you agree?
I totally agree. It's spiritual, it's ceremonial, it's ritual, it's everything. I mean, everything in life there is movement, there is something to mourn, there's something to celebrate, So,
Hmm.
and it's through movement and through song on our continent, on our dear continent. It's just,
Something to be proud of. Huh? You
yeah,
know,
totally.
of course, over the years, you develop a lot of old. Sometimes they become very uh, ponderous, but sort of people ask me, what is dance? Dance is the movement of people and things in space and time.
Mhm.
Now that's very broad, right? That means the stars are moving, the mosquitoes are moving, the ions in the air are moving. And well,
Our
then what is
cells are moving.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Our cells are moving.
Our cells are moving. Well, then what is choreography?
Choreography is putting those movements into a pattern.
A pattern.
Mhm.
Hmm. Interesting. Uh-huh. And with an intention.
With an intention, yes, of course, motivated by an intention. An
Hmm.
investigation of that which you intend to, express physically.
Last night I was at an opening of a good friend of mine, Robert Longo. I've known him a long time, and he makes works that literally look like ripped from the pages of the newspaper or magazines, and he's gotten very good at it. And another friend of ours, Cindy Sherman, was there, and she and Bjorn got into a discussion about the idea of the mystery of making.
Mm.
Uh, they don't why and how a work gets made, and I came up and I was saying I was quoting a favorite quote of mine. I don't know where it even comes from in his writing. Ornette Coleman, the great jazz musician, says the idea has no destination,
Mm.
and lovely, huh?
Yeah.
But Cindy said, well, I sometimes have no idea when I start. Do you? Like you talk about choreography being movements at the service, I don't was your word, the service of communicating something. So you have an idea when you start.
With my company work, I will have an idea. But like I was in Bamako, Mali, and I set a work on 7 dancers in the framework of a festival that invites 2 choreographers. And I remember one of the dancers said, "Where are we going with this?" I said, "I have actually no idea."
How did that go over?
It went really well, actually, and I had to let them know that there will be moments of suspension because I don't know, because also we're getting to know each other. We only have 3 weeks, but we're getting to know each other. So we're going to do these building blocks and we'll make
Mhm.
stuff. And at some point, there will be an idea that will trickle into my spirit, and then we'll explore that. And the idea came 3 days before we even performed. And then I injected the intention in, and all that came with that. And it unfolded really well. But
So
some
then that
dancers
implies
had
that,
a hard time with that. But what are we doing? Why are we doing it? Yeah.
thank you very much. Well, that implies then that you have a particular role. You are the captain. They turn to you and say, where are we going, Captain? And you said, I'm not sure. How do you understand your role? What do you do?
And when I make my work, I really like a collaborative aspect to it. So, yes, I am the holder of the project, like for Fragmented Shadows, I'm the holder of the project. But Sherwood Chen and Elodie Paul are also makers in the project because I couldn't make it without them. So,
Hmm.
and I'm pulling from their bodies, to make the movement also come alive, so that it's not just movement that comes from Wanjiro's body, but it also comes from all our bodies, to make a richer palette also.
I see. So maybe that takes us to the question of the title of the piece. Where's that? What's that title coming from?
That title came to me as I sat and watched the sunset at PS 21. September 2023, because it was really originally called Fragments. And then I was like, because Bill, you read a grant and people are like, so what's the name of the piece? And then you have to make a name of the piece. You don't even read. the piece is about to unfold to be, but you have to make a name. So I was like, I'm not liking fragments. And everyone in Paris or in France at the time was using fragment, fragment. Everyone. I was like, I'm not using the same title. This is not happening. And I was like, I know I want a certain environment with light as well. And I know that in the storytelling and exposition of what we're offering, there are shadows within that.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that the work would be abstract and non-linear, and there would be no text. So I said, fragmented shadows. It's
Mm-hmm.
fragmented
So why shadows?
shadows.
Why shadows?
Because there are things that we keep hidden. There are things that we don't know. They are things that we like to keep to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I playing with the idea of visibilizing and invisibilizing
Mm-hmm.
the experiences that we have.
Well, as you speak, I think of the question in astrophysics now that some huge proportion of the universe is made of material that we don't know what it is. We call it dark matter and dark energy. So I was thinking that shadows are also this kind of world that maybe we're the shadow of a reality. That's what your title suggested for me. Do you agree
Wow,
with that?
great. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just
I might have to quote you on that
yeah.
one day.
Hey, please go for it. Now, and another one of these terms, psychosomatic.
Mm.
What psychosomatic?
Well, the process, and even in my teaching, my workshops, there's always a somatic process that goes with it. Psychosomatic because your brain is part of your body, and just going through a somatic practice where you get in touch with the internal impulses and the sensorial world that's within your body, and how that is then expressed on the external. So and somatics and healing go hand in hand. And in the Breaking of Fragmented Shadows, we had a fascia therapist come and work with us because her practice is to come in and to do fascia therapy that impulses the body to then move. And so we worked with Marion Blondeau on that, which was really actually quite
So
nourishing.
literally, fascia, which is this material that like covers and connects and divides the tissues and so in the body, you
Yes.
that is a thing that can be manipulated to engender movement or to encourage movement. Do you have any sense of how that works?
Yeah, and she uses it to encourage movement and to create space where people move and express themselves. Yes, this covering, it looks like when you unpeel an orange, that's what it looks like inside our bodies. Yeah, she would do very 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 light manipulation touches. It wasn't even manipulation, but it was really like a touch that was long and
You
soft.
frozen again, which probably means I've frozen for you. But let's see if we catch up again. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're frozen though. I can't hear you anymore.
Okay, I think it's already.
Okay, I can hear you. I can hear
Yeah,
you.
okay. I froze for a moment, but I think we got all of your thoughts around this idea. Um, and here's a big one. You mentioned healing. Whoops. Are you still there? Oops. I lost. I have my iPad propped up in an artful way that send it
In
over
a
the edge.
creative way.
Yeah. I should hold on to it. Uh, so health, healing, justice work. First of all, there are people who don't come from an African American tradition, and they've heard everyone from Dr. King to many people talking about the healing that we must have, the healing, and they said, well, what's all this wound? People are that wounded. So what is this healing justice work? And I put here, so do you or your performers have a grievance? And performance is the forum to seek redress.
Yes. I would say performance for me, the stage for me is the space where I can be 100% myself. So in that space, I'm the most vulnerable. And so in that space, I am offering my grievances and screaming and asking for justice. And, I learned of the term from Kara Page during the Black Lives Movement, Matters movement. And then there was George Floyd and there was COVID. And there was just a point where I was really exhausted as just being a Black person who everyone was like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And I was just like, I mean, thank you. It's very kind. However, I'm exhausted. And also because I also come from Kenya where I didn't have to live that exhaustion. And so living in the Western world where that exhaustion is really clearly in my body, it prompted me to then decide I want to make a work that really is about how I use dance to heal myself and in workshop experience to offer that as a pathway for others.
Well, provocatively, I would remind you of a worldview that is to be alive is to have the wound of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
To be alive is to be in a world that you don't understand what it is, why it is, and what it will become. Is
Yes.
that a wound, or is that, well, I know this is sounding very philosophical, but or is that just a condition of being alive? Or do you think it's different for people of color?
I think it's different for everybody, depending their context, their culture, their experiences. Are they marginalized? Are they not marginalized? Were they colonized? Are they now colonized? Were they enslaved? Were they not enslaved? Were they Holocaust survivors or not? Are they in war now? Like what we're living now. Wow. So
Yeah, it's amazing, right?
it's like human conditions, like in plural, and we all need to find spaces where we can breathe and also just have release and joy, or just pockets of joy would be nice.
Do you think that there was ever a time in your life when you were not wounded? I mean, when you were a happy child? I mean, what about that? Did
Yes, I was in Nairobi, Kenya growing up. I grew up in such a beautiful, wonderful neighborhood. I grew up on a university campus. My dad's is a retired professor and my mom's a retired teacher. And I mean, we really grew up like in a little bubble oasis of paradise. Like it was, I mean, we had the swimming pool, we had the basketball court, we had the tennis, we had the shops, and and everyone was really close, and our parents really trusted us. There was no dangers. I mean, it was
well,
just
but then I ask you, my
beautiful.
dear friend, well, when did this wounding happen?
I would say. I don't know if there's a pinpointing of a finger on when, because I think some things happen and you're unconsciously aware of that. Like, especially if you're super young, if something happens, you don't calculate maybe in a certain way. But I would say a lot of stress came upon me when my parents decided to leave Kenya. I'm
Mm,
very grateful they did because I wouldn't be a professional dancer or choreographer. Okay, so let's just make that very clear.
yeah.
That was hard.
Mm.
And then also going back home to Kenya in 2003, 4, and I realized actually the weight of racism in the Western world is so heavy on one's shoulders. And you don't realize you're carrying it until I got back home where everybody looked like me, could pronounce my name. It was just like, ah, oh, I can breathe again. I didn't know I was carrying all that. And
So you
that,
didn't know you were wounded.
no.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, uh, okay. Filtering trauma to keep only lightness. That I found peculiar. Um, Filtering, that was the way you end with saying, you're filtering trauma to keep only lightness. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, because I think in the healing work, it's trying to open up space to breathe and to release, and hopefully that trauma can have closure, and in that there's left space that is light, that is easy to navigate through, that is easy to bear.
I see. I see. Well,
It's like forgiving and truly forgiving, that concept of like truly forgiving, that you release that burden off of your back, your shoulders, your heart,
mhm.
you know, in that.
Anything that you, yeah, anything you want to tell us about your collaborators? Oh, first, your performers and your collaborators. You've already identified, I believe, the two other performers. There are three. There's a trio, correct?
We're three, including me.
Yes, yes. So, anything you want to say? Who are they? And by extension, what about your collaborators? Anything you want to share about them?
Yeah, Elodie Paul, I worked with in 2009 on a piece when I was in The Lion King. We had an opportunity to create. I met her there, and Sherwood Chen I met through the pathways and knew him through California connections. And they're both beautiful dancers with very inquisitive minds and really intelligent dancers who are really open to improvisation and who are really open to sensorial and imaginary work.
Mm,
So I love them. I love them. And then there's David Golonstev, who's been with me for ages. He's an assistant, an artistic assistant. He helps me look at the work, examine the work. How is it built? How is it shaped? Where are we going? Asking me the hard questions.
hmm
Well, who's been a dramaturg in the work as well for An Immigrant Story, he also has held keys down for me to construct and really, really dig into why I'm doing what I'm doing. Cyril Moulin with Lights has been with me and is also my sweetheart. He's been with me since the beginning, and I absolutely love his sensibility. He comes from a world of cinema, and so there's a lot of poetry and subtlety and sweetness and he really captures what the choreographer wishes for. It's an environment that he's creating. I wish people would give more kudos to lighting designers. Everyone gives
mm. They're so important, aren't they?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
musicians and costume people. So costume, Birgit Neppel, she's been with me since An Immigrant Story, and La Crème Boy Jean-Philippe Barrios has been with me since the very beginning. He's been creating
hmm
music for me.
And the music?
He did my music, yeah.
Ah, I see, I see, I see.
Awesome, awesome.
Now, just a couple of, we're getting near the end here. How are you, how are you viewing your art form in at present and the future? You travel a lot, you see things. What are you thinking about the art form of?
Yeah, I see a lot. And for me, what's important for me as a maker is I don't want my, you'll see a signature line through my work, as you'll know, okay, yeah, but I don't want every work to look the same. So I really try hard to dig in and go in different directions and challenge myself, which can be extremely stressful, but it's also really rewarding.
Mhm.
The work is, I want each piece to have its own imprint and not just generate the same formula with each piece. So,
Well, how do you feel about this particular, and in some people's understanding, esoteric form, which we movement, embodied investigation, as we call it at New York Live Arts? How, what is its future? How do you think about it?
oh, its future at the moment with all the budgetary constraints and reduction, it's a big question. I also think, Bill, part of it is that people don't understand what we do, and so to bring them into space so they can really understand, like, what's this creating? They come into a theater, they see what the product is, but do they really see the in and out of what we go through? So I mean, the future of dance, I want to stay very optimistic and say yes, there is a future and it's bright. However, as I always say, you have to love it, and it has to be your oxygen and your heartbeat in order to stay with it, because it's challenging. It's very challenging, and I feel like it's not valued in society, really. I mean,
No, it's true. It has very little market value, right?
what
Yeah,
totally, like, no one is like
yeah,
they, so you think you can dance, they will get money, but fragmented, ain't nobody
yeah.
taking
And here the last one is, how are you, Wanjiro, feeling in the world today?
Mm, mm, mm. Hmm. Bewildered, no words, deeply sad,
Mm,
um, but yet holding on to light and allowing myself to also unplug when I need to and just consume joy because we
right.
are very troubling times.
Well, thank you for being a light and for sharing a generous heart and deep mind of yours. We all at New York Live Arts look forward to uh, uh, Fragmentary Shadows. So it's
Fragmented,
Fragmented Shadows.
fragmented shadows.
Fragmented Shadows. Yes, we look
Mhm.
forward to it. And please take care of yourself, and we will
You
see you
too.
at the performance.
Yes, I look forward to it. And take care, and all my love to Bjorn as well.
Will
Take
do. Will do. Thank you
care.
so much. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.